If you've been feeling stuck or aimless lately, give me a few minutes. I'll help you find the one clear direction to start moving, not someday, not when life lines up, but today. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you've just been running on autopilot for a while, and honestly, most of us do. It's easy to lose direction when you're just trying to get through the day, but getting out of that aimless space doesn't take a total life overhaul. You don't need to have a 10-year plan or know your purpose. You just need to find one small direction, and that's what we're going to figure out together in this video. There's a lot of advice out there that says you just know your purpose because you know your passion. Personally, that's not how it worked for me. And honestly, that advice is pretty useless for most people. Sure, there are a lucky few who stumble right into something they love. But for most of us, passion isn't something you discover, it's something you develop by spending time with what interests you. When I was younger, I had tons of hobbies I thought I was passionate about, and most of them faded. And some of the things that actually became real passions for me started out as tiny curiosities. Take a look around at people doing things you admire: a chef, an artist, a business owner, a writer. Most of them didn't start with passion, they started with a question. I wonder what would happen if I tried this. And that's the secret most people don't tell you. You don't need to know the end result to start. You just need enough curiosity to take that first small step. So if you don't feel passionate about anything right now, that could be a good thing. You're not boxed into one identity yet. You get to experiment, test things out, and build something from scratch without the pressure of being perfect at it right away. So if you'd like to make some progress, try this. Grab a notebook or your phone and write down 3 things you've been curious about lately, no matter how random they seem. Because almost every skill, hobby, or career starts as someone's weird little curiosity that just got repeated enough times to become something bigger. Now that you've got a few things you're curious about, let's turn that curiosity into motion. Because direction doesn't just appear, you build it through small steps. That's where this simple system comes in: curiosity, action, reward. For curiosity, consider a few things. What do you naturally go out of your way to learn more about? Sometimes we're oblivious to the things we're actually drawn to. Have you ever gone online to look up one thing and then 3 hours later you're deep down the Wikipedia rabbit hole learning about something completely random but fascinating? That's curiosity, and it's one of the easiest clues to determine what deserves more of your time. For other ways to determine what you're curious about, think about what topics keep showing up in your feed and what skills make you think, man, I wish I could do that. Now for action, pick one curiosity and actually do something with it, even for 20 minutes. Clarity doesn't come from deciding, it comes from doing. When I first started jogging, I didn't do it because I loved running. I actually hated it. I just wanted to clear my head before work, feel better physically, and prove that I could stay consistent with something. So I made a deal with myself. If I went out jogging for at least 4 days a week for a full month, I'd buy new running shoes. Not as a bribe, but as a proof of follow-through. Here are my rules for rewards. Rewards should be something that makes the goal easier to continue. They should make it more enjoyable, and they only count after a milestone. So if you're exercising so that you stay more active, maybe don't celebrate by buying a recliner. And if you're dieting, don't undo your progress by binge eating something as a reward. From your list of curiosities, choose one to explore this week and schedule a tiny next step. You've probably heard this advice before. If you're going to do something, go all in. And I get it, that advice sounds bold and motivating. But the issue with that mindset is that it usually comes from people who have already made it. They're giving hindsight advice after their risks worked out. What we don't see are the hundreds of people who went all out too early and then burned out. Go all in works if you have clarity and a safety net. But for most of us, it drains energy before things click. You don't have to go all in, you just have to go again. Momentum comes from consistency, not intensity. I used to think that slow progress meant I wasn't serious. But every time I tried to go all in, I flamed out. Progress only stuck when I set smaller, repeatable targets, things that I could keep up with even on bad days. So if you're worried that moving slowly means falling behind, it doesn't. It means you're building something that lasts. You don't need to change your whole life this week, just show up twice next week. Motivation disappears. That's normal. Progress isn't a straight line, it's peaks, valleys, and plateaus. Sometimes life gets busy and you skip a week. That doesn't mean you failed, it just means you paused. Don't restart, resume. Restarting says, I'm back at square one. Resuming says, I'm continuing where I left off. I've learned the hardest part isn't starting, it's forgiving yourself long enough to start again. When I miss a week of editing or studying, I don't double up to make up for it, I just resume. When motivation fades, lower the bar. If you plan to do an hour, do 10 minutes. You will have seasons where life takes over. It's deadlines, family, maybe burnout. Plan for it. Create a quick 5-minute Sunday check-in. What's slipped and what's next? Keep in mind that consistency isn't perfection. It's showing up again after the pause. For your task, think about who or what you can use to pull yourself back on track when motivation disappears. When you start something new, it can feel like nothing's changing. You're showing up, but the results aren't obvious. And that's where most people stop. Measure progress in tiny wins. Keep a note called, What Got Better This Week? Write down things like, I didn't skip a day, I finally opened that project file, or I asked that one question I was nervous to ask. Those checkpoints prove you're building momentum, even when it doesn't look like it. Progress compounds quietly until one day you realize how far you've come. Before the weekends, take a minute to write down 3 small wins. Because when you see progress, you believe progress, and belief is what keeps you moving. Now you have an interest or two, a plan to explore them, and a system to keep showing up even when life gets messy. That's movement, that's direction. And here's the truth most people never hear. You don't find your purpose first and then start living. You start living, and that's how you find purpose. Every small step you take, every curiosity you follow, every small win you write down is proof you're already building something. It might not look like much right now, but the moment you decide to stop waiting for clarity and just start creating it, you've stopped being aimless. You don't need to have everything figured out today. You just need to stay curious, stay moving, and keep showing up, even imperfectly. That's how direction turns into progress, and progress turns into a life that actually feels like yours. If this helped you feel a little less stuck, check out my life map video next. It'll show you how to turn this new direction into a long-term plan.